Well, hello everybody and welcome back. This time week 4, and what a journey it is. So let's start again. We are launching the project team, right? That becomes an important part of what we do. So we are organizing a project team, and this becomes a typical task of us as project managers. So we want to start by looking at the approach, right? Such as a checklist of the key tasks for creating a project team, right? We want to make a project team list. We want to allocate conventional roles with skills defined and skill levels, right? Not everybody's equal. A 15-year manager is different from a second-year journeyman, right? And so key roles and responsibilities, by clarifying up front, will reduce conflicts, right? Then we want to assemble the whole team, identify other stakeholders in addition to your team as stakeholders. We want to build a RACI chart, which we'll look at this week and in following weeks. And we want to build a gap analysis of the skills and training required in order to have a high-performing team and create a successful project. So there are key elements then of launching a project team. For example, you want to look at the project charter, right? I like to do this with resource managers or functional managers right up front as the project is getting underway, right? It's very high level, but it's buy-in with the functional managers, and it's getting the right high level approach as I dive down into planning after the charter, right? So the resource managers, or sometimes called functional managers, they have a mature sense of risk and requirements and quality, which is really what I'm trying to address in the charter. With that, then, I can dive down into resource management, which is going to be tied in large part to our baseline scope, schedule, and cost, right? Then I want to acquire the project team. That's going to come in various forms like negotiation, some with the functional managers or the resource managers. Some of these people will be assigned. Some may be contracted. Some may be loaned to me, right? Building good relationships is important. Then I want to acquire, after I acquire the project team, I want to set a clear vision and goals, right? So Winston Churchill once said, no matter however beautiful the strategy, you should occasionally look at the results. For in those results, whether good or bad, are directly tied to how you handled the details, right? So planning becomes very important. You want to set project standards and processes in place and hold people to them. You want to build a shared understanding of your project. You will do this, like in scope, you would do it through a tool called the work breakdown structure, which we talk about in following weeks. You may do this by bringing the team together for a budgeting exercise in cost management. Then we want to foster a team state of mind, right? We want to be transparent. We want to ensure fairness and these sort of things. And then we want to collaborate with stakeholders. I call this management by walking around, right? It's an old term, but it's just not used very often anymore in this digital world. So you need to make sure that the vision and purpose are made clear to everyone's heart and mind, right? The project manager has to make sure everyone is on board with why the project is necessary and how it is going to benefit the organization. If your stakeholders, if your project teammates don't buy into the idea, then you're going to have trouble all along the way. So I like to treat kickoff meetings, for example, like an entrepreneur who's pitching an idea to an investor, right? Sell the product to your teammates. Show them how they and the organization stand to benefit from the project, okay? So a little bit more then about the project charter, right? The project charter is a formal document, typically short, right? It describes your project in its entirety, but only at a high level. So it's taking the business documents that came down from the C-suite, which were the strategic level, and now you're building a project charter, drilling down those business documents into something high level, but still measurable objectives and risks, things like that, right? And so this is how your project is going to be carried out, who the key stakeholders are, the high-level ones. It is a crucial ingredient in planning the project because it's used throughout the project lifecycle. Now, the project charter formally outlines the project in the organization, and it covers the scope of what the project will achieve, the milestones, a high-level budget, possible high-level risks, and what is success criteria. So the charter, as I said, is always high level, but it's powerful because it is measurable. These are measurable objectives, right? So an example would be the Golden Gate Bridge. The business documents might be the mayor of San Francisco and the mayor of Sausalito who said, you know what, if we could increase commerce between our two sides of the bay, value would go up by $10 million a year in San Francisco and $4 million a year in Sausalito. Everybody wins. So those are like the business documents, super high level. So then they hand it to you, the project manager, and you say, well, look, then I'm going to develop a charter. Now you would have done a feasibility study as part of this. You might have built roads around the bay. You might have started a ferry service. But in the end, through the feasibility study, you decided, you know what, I'm going to build a bridge, and we'll call it the Golden Gate Bridge. And this is where the project charter comes in. Then we took those business documents, which were just about tied to strategy. What am I trying to do here? What's the need? And that's to improve commerce. And now I'm going to say, well, okay, I'm going to build a bridge that's 4 lanes each side. It'll have a walk lane because it's California, people like to walk. It'll have a bicycle lane on each side because people like to bicycle. It'll have a pullover area because it's beautiful and some visitors might want to take an extra look or some pictures of the area, right? It isn't going into the technical detail yet. That we'll do in planning. But you can see how the business documents at the strategic level tie to the charter, which are measurable objectives, and now will lead into later detailed planning, right? So the sponsor of the project, that's the person usually with the money, is the person funding the project. It can be somebody outside the company, like a client or customer. It could be somebody high level in a management role in the company. And we need this project charter authorization and the sponsor to sign it because you may not have the official title of project manager without it, right? The charter formally authorizes your project and gives you access to resources, right? And in doing so, it also helps us understand the type organization we are working in to accomplish it. So the project, a contract is common as input to your charter if the work is being done by an outside source. Or you might get a statement of work as input with the business documents in developing your charter, right? A statement of work, or a SOW, is a description of the products or services, which would also include the business need, would include the project scope description, and the strategic plan. And you would look at things like enterprise environmental factors, right? What's the company culture? What are the government standards? What are the marketplace conditions? And existing human resources available. You might also look at OPAs, or organizational process assets. These are processes, policies, and procedures. They're templates, standardized guides, communication requirements, financial controls that the company's already set up that you have to use, and change controls that are already established, right? They will also include historical information and lessons learned, right? What happens if you didn't create a charter? You have trouble, rocky waters ahead. Okay, that is a little bit about some of the key aspects. I'm going to pause here, come back, and we'll do a part 2 to finish up with some key items like cost management.